Let's start a podcast about our mental health. For no good reason why, let's call it Mind Cake.
Well, here we are. I'm going to do the intros today. After I've sung the intro,
okay.
Write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. I didn't write or sing the theme tune. We're going to do a bonus episode today because a lot of people have said we have a good rapport and obviously know each other very well because of all the bants, which isn't necessarily the case, is it, Paul?
No, because we only met, was it 2020?
I think it might have been 2021. And I'll go into the reasons why that was. So I'm going to go back in time. I could do that music again.
Oh. Or just use that sound effect.
Or just use that. Just use that. So I have been working in the construction industry for 30 years and I love it. It's Paul's face. Can I screen grab that? I do. I love it. And as a side hustle, I enjoy writing. So I've written novels and screenplays and films and rejections are plenty. And to try and get my foot in the door or do something a little bit different, I decided. So I'd written this pilot for it's not a sitcom, for a comedy drama called Game of Cones, which is very loosely based on the ice cream wars in Glasgow, which I won't go into now, but Google it. It's quite a story and not very comedic, but it's very loosely based on that. In order to try and get something made, we decided that we were going to film what they call a proof of concept, which is like a 20-minute idea. And this was based on, I'd seen something that they did with the Saw films. So apparently, rumor has it, legend has it, that the people who made the Saw films, him and his pal, basically made, and I think you can get it on YouTube. It's like Saw 0.5. And it's like a 15, 20-minute Saw light where he basically films it in his garage, does it all himself, him and his pal, and send that to, I'm going to get this wrong, but I think it's Miramar. I don't know whoever it has made it, and said, we basically want to make that. And they went, brilliant, get the idea, get the concept, here's a load of money. Not quite as simple as that, but they basically did this Saw mini Saw to get their foot in the door. So I ended up crowdfunding to do a similar thing with Game of Cones. And one of the characters in Game of Cones is called Mad Rab. So I auditioned for all the parts, including Mad Rab. And I have to say, he's not the main character, but I have to say that from all the audition tapes that we had in, Mad Rab was by far the most prevalent, because I think most people in Glasgow think they're Mad Rab. Well, you're not even in Glasgow, are you?
No, I'm an East Coast boy.
So can you remember how you found out about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just on Facebook in the Scottish screenwriters group or whatever, some filmmakers group, something like that. I'm sure it was there. I read the wee blurb, and I liked the idea of the story, and I liked the idea of the character, and I thought I'll do a little tape for it. Needed to get a show reel done as well, so I was thinking I can get some footage to put on my show reel, which I still have to do, by the way. 3 years later.
3 years later, you still have not done it.
Yeah, I was really taken with the character. And then when I read the two scenes that we had to do for the tape, I just fell in love with the character. But then, so I recorded my little tape and I sent it off, and I didn't think anything of it, really.
Mm-hmm.
I had quite a positive mindset when it came to auditions, just like, I'm just going to send it off, and if I hear back, it's a bonus.
Yeah.
And then sort of, I don't mean this disrespectfully, I kind of forgot about it for a little while.
How dare you?
And then, I don't know how much time passed between that tape arriving to you.
I think it all happened quite quickly in the kind of 2019. It was the back end of 2019. And so the idea was that we were going to meet up and do auditions early in 2020, which is what we did, March 2020. And I know this because we went in to a place in Glasgow and there was rumors of this virus that was going to be hitting us and blah, blah, blah. And Boris was due to give an announcement. And we went in at whatever time, 5, 6 o'clock. And we came out at 9 o'clock. And I don't think you were there because you couldn't make it across from the East Coast, could you?
Yeah, I was on tour at the time.
Were you?
So I don't even think I was in Scotland at the time. I was down south, I think.
Oh, you're excused then. Never really forgave you for that. But anyway, so Paul wasn't there. He didn't bother to turn up, but all the rest of the cast were there. And by the time we came out, Glasgow was like a ghost town. There was like nobody on the streets. There was no cars. There was nobody walking about. And it was like we'd gone in, the world has stopped, and we came out and went, what's happened? And then obviously we get the announcement. It was literally the day that Boris announced, that's it, stay in your house, don't go anywhere, we're shut for business. We then decided that we were going to film June 2020. So, of course, that didn't happen. So we said, right, we're going to film in 2020, June 2021. Then, of course, harking back to episode 2, I was diagnosed in September 2020 with 6 months to live. Again, looking back on this, I don't know why it was so important that I've recorded Game of Cones. But I said, well, I haven't got till June 2021, but I still really want to make it. So we sort of had a skeleton crew and sort of scaled it down. And we filmed it, I think we were still in lockdown in the January 2021.
We were filming everything outside, or most of it was filmed outside, I should say, because that's how we got around
the restrictions.
Yeah, because the restriction had been lifted slightly, so you could be outside with a group of people as long as you were trying to keep your distance and all that kind of stuff. So we didn't break any of the guidelines or whatever like that, because by that point,
especially after I said that there was none of us driving to Dundee in our bare feet visiting relations. No, you actually, the only person that broke the rules, I think, is you.
What do you mean I broke them? I didn't break any rules.
You did. Well, you did, because you broke the screens. There was a special COVID screen in the ice cream van to stop all the germs. You leant forward and stuck your head through and broke it, didn't you?
I was so in the moment and in character that when I pushed myself through the little ice cream window, I snapped the protective screen.
The COVID screen. Yeah. But other than that, no, all protocols were followed. So on that basis then, did you actually do any rehearsing?
We had a Zoom read through of the 20-minute version of the pilot, which ended up being the proof of concept. So I did my self-tape, and then we had a read-through, and then COVID happened. January, February 2021, I turned up in Troon and filmed, and then left again. And then that was it. It was the one day's filming.
Yeah, I think that was the first and last time I met you for a considerable period of time.
It was, yeah.
I remember we sat on the bench and had our sandwiches.
That's right.
We stopped for a break. We sat 2 meters apart on a bench, and you'd brought a packed lunch, hadn't you?
I honestly can't remember. Probably.
You had. You were the only, because I remember that's where you sat there. Everyone else went to like Greg's to get like a pasty or whatever, and you were the only person who had brought their own packed lunch. Probably had some Monster Munch. So that's Elmo popped in there.
Oh God, hello, Elmo.
So yeah, and I'm also going to mention, so the Peter McVeigh connection in all this is that a friend, a friend of mine who I used to work with, as I was kind of crowdfunding for Game of Cones, said, we're trying to raise money and what have you, said, she was friends with Andy Dunlop from Travis.
Name drop. You
should tweet him and get him to ask him if he wouldn't mind retweeting the crowdfunding page.
I remember this.
I was like, yeah, all right, okay, well, he's not going to do that, but we'll do it anyway, because I think Gloria Estefan, I think she retweeted, Debbie McGee. It was an eclectic mix of people. Andy Dunlop from Travis, as his full title, did retweet, and I was like, wow, amazing. So I thought, well, got 6 months to live. In for a penny, in for a pound. I tweeted him back and said, thanks for the retweet, Andy. Wouldn't it be amazing if Travis did the music for it? Again, not expecting a response to that. But he did, and said, well, I'm actually doing another project with a band, St. Alban, or Alban? St. Alban.
Alban.
St. Alban.
Oh, Dr. Alban.
Dr. Alban, It's My Life. Which I think they used in a sanitary towel advert, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, well remembered.
I'm big on that. I know that's my sanitary towel trivia. So the side project was I think they were just about to release the first album, of
Mhm.
which there was one song that didn't fit the sort of tone or theme of the album, which was "For All Our Differences."
Yeah,
Andy had read
beautiful
this
song.
beautiful song, which Andy had read the script and said, "I think this would be a really good fit." Hence, our connection with Peter McVeigh, who is the other half of St. Alban. St. Alban was very supportive during a lot of tweets going, not tweets, what am I talking about? A lot of WhatsApp messages going backwards and forwards with some very dark thoughts at the time. And you've never met him, have you?
Not in person, no, I've not met Peter.
I don't know why I said that because I've not met him either. I feel like I have met him, but I've not met him.
Yeah, so well, I remember Andy. Well, first of all, Andy Dunlop's tweet being massively supportive.
Yes.
He was saying it's always nice to see new work. I like to support new work, especially work that's happening in Scotland, and that he was just so lovely
Mm-hmm.
when they gave us permission to use their song in the proof of concept and sort of getting to know Peter. Peter's one of the funniest guys I've ever, well, not met, but
But
I've
I
ever
wouldn't
been
go.
aware of. Peter's
Maybe I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, I think he's hilarious. He's got a very good sense of humor, and that I suppose that leads us on. We did a little Christmas promo. Do you remember
Mm,
before we'd
yes.
actually started filming? So this is when we were all still
Of course it was. Yeah, I keep think it was afterwards,
locked
but no,
up.
it was the first Christmas, wasn't it? Before we'd even. Yes.
They recorded a Christmas version of All Our Differences called "For All Our Christmases," and
Which I take the Mickey out of in there because we've done a little video
yeah.
to go like
So
a.
we had, in fact, if you've still got the link to that, that'd be a good one to put in the link
I'll
tree.
put it in the link tree, maybe for the
Yeah.
Christmas episode.
So all the characters from Game of Thrones did almost like a lip sync kind of thing to the
Hmm.
video to the music. But we're all still filming it ourselves independently
That's
because it
right.
was that kind of lockdown thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And Peter was a very good sport in that video. I seem to remember like a little sort of skit at the beginning and the end, when you were on the phone and
That's right.
you and Andy and Peter are like having a phone conversation about using the song and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It was all done with such goodwill from the pair of them. But it was just, although it was like quite a dark time with all the COVID and stuff, it was such a ray of light at that dark time because we were doing something creative and like the script was brilliant. And then we had this amazing song to go with it. It's just like, oh, life's not so bad.
And they did the
And
music for it, and they did the incidental music in the end as well.
it was just such a lovely time in that kind of dark COVIDy kind of period. And another thing I remember is that I wasn't the first choice for Mad Rab.
Oh, are we going to discuss this now?
Yeah, we're going to discuss this now.
Right. Okay.
What I remember is that you looked at my headshot and you went, "That's not Mad Rab. I don't even know why I'm going to watch this tape." And then Lee watched the tape and went, "Actually, that
Actually,
was
this
really good."
guy's. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, that's not the story I thought you were going to tell.
But there
Yeah.
is, but there was other people that were involved that were trying, like pushing really hard for someone else to do that part.
Yes. So before we filmed, it was I'd say we did a table read at the Scottish Screenwriters, and then on the back of that, they workshopped it and cast their own folk to do the workshop. So I didn't have any involvement in that, which is absolutely fine. Yes, there was the one guy who played Mad Rab in the workshop was very good and was odds on to get the part because you say he was very good in the workshop. Well, I'll tell you what, I will post a picture of your headshot and then
from the time.
from the
Yeah.
time
Mhm.
and then post your self tape and see, do you
Okay.
think that guy in the headshot is Mad Rab? And I defy anybody to say, oh, yeah, he looks like a bit of a nutter.
Yeah, but that's because I'm a chameleon.
Well, you're an actor, darling, an actor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Actor.
Mhm. But no,
But
I did look at that. I did look at your headshot and totally just go, well, yeah, I'll watch it, but that's I did make a judgment that you weren't Mad Rab based on your headshot.
yeah, I'm so glad that you watched it out of courtesy or pity or whatever else it was that made you
No,
sit down and watch that because here we are.
Here we are. Who'd have thought that nearly 4 years later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I suppose after Game of Codes, though, like because we just got on and we stayed in touch, and around that time as well, I had been in the BBC Writers' Room.
That's right.
The regional, like the Scottish Voices part of BBC Writers' Room. So we started to bounce stuff off each other. So like if I wrote something, you had to let you have a read of it because I trusted your judgment, and vice versa. So we kind of creatively stayed in touch subsequently from Game of Clones.
But actual like chats on the phone or physical meetups, I think we only met. You think that was 4 years ago? Yeah, if that was 4 years ago, that 2019, this time of year in 2019, that well, I didn't meet you till the January till we filmed. I think since
that's when I met you in the flesh for the first time. It was the January.
But I think it's since that in that 4 years, I think we've only met. Well, we met at the screening. We had a pint at the screening.
Yeah,
I think there was another meeting. We met up for a pint. Yes, with Gail.
That's right, in Ashton Lane in Glasgow.
And then we met up again more recently. So that's only 3. Yeah, we've actually only met in the flesh 3 times since.
And then recording the first episode of the podcast, so 4 times actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I say, before we actually started recording the podcast, I think it's only 3 times we've met. And yes, we've kept in touch and exchanged emails and WhatsApps and whatever. But I now consider you a great mate.
Oh, thanks, mate. There's a reference for the kids listening.
Yeah. Well, again, I've seen the demographic of our age range, so that's absolutely fine to do Smashy and Nicey.
They will know exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. We have got someone. I'll say someone. It's a low percentage, so I don't know how many people in the sort of the 17 to 25 category who will have no idea what great mates are all about. But yeah, for the rest of them, should be absolutely fine. I should also mention, again, it was a bit of a coup because again, me sort of just tweeting random people and seeing whether they would give us a retweet or a shout out or whatever, or be in it. And we ended up getting Jimmy Chisholm to play the golf manager who drove. I think he's from your neck of the woods. He's over on the East Coast somewhere. He drove all the way across to, I think it was Renfrew Golf Club, to play the scene of the. So Jimmy Chisholm, people who don't know, he's a bit of a Scottish legend. He was in Braveheart and Angel's Share and Take the High Road, and more recently in, well, is he still in Rivers? I think he might still be in River City and Shetland. So yes, he's a well-known face, and he was dying of the cold. He was not very well at all, and he came across and played the part of, I don't know if he's got a name, the golf club captain.
I think it was just captain, wasn't it?
I think it was actually Captain Kirk. I think in the script he's Captain Kirk, because I think that's a run in the series. That's a gag that So we should. But
again, that was just you being cheeky on Twitter, wasn't it? Just going, oh, can you
pretty much
give us a little retweet or or whatever, bit of love. Yeah, and he ended up being in it.
Which, well, again, I think he had much to do because he was technically
but still, I mean, he's still. I think it's testament to the script that he didn't have to drive to the other side of the country during a lockdown when he wasn't feeling well to do something for free. Well, buttons. So,
are you trying to wheedle out of me how much you got paid compared with you?
No.
Let's just say that it cost me more to pay for the replacement Perspex screen in the ice cream van.
So I cost you more money than Chisholm did?
Yes. Well, the Perspex screen cost me more money than you did.
Well, there you
go. Very expensive screen.
Again, I think that's testament to the project, isn't it? And the belief that people had in it. They were willing to do it for next to nothing and to just kind of get involved because they liked the concept so much.
And I think
the only sad thing was that I never got to work with him because we weren't ever in a scene together.
We were never in the same scene. No, I was.
You were, yeah.
Well, kind of.
He plays a police officer in one of the scenes, don't you? So you actually got to interact with him, I think. Did you? Or
no,
I didn't. No, it was the other character, wasn't it?
I interacted with the character Jack. Now, the idea was that as part of the crowdfunding, there was various perks you could get. One of which was being, sorry, there's a big yawn there. I'm boring you.
No.
One of the perks was you could be in it.
That's right. If you paid a certain amount of money.
If you pledged a certain amount of money, then you could be in it. And then if you paid a certain amount more money, you could be in it with a line of dialogue. And I will check his. I will name check him because he has commented. So I know he listens to the podcast. Ali Campbell, not the one from UB40, another one. That's a gag in itself. So part of the thing of being calling. So I'm going off another tangent here. Part of the thing of being Captain Kirk. There was a time when I worked with people who a lot of them had comedy names or names of people who were famous. And so as I'm introduced to people, they go, "Oh, this is so and so and so and so, and this is so and so and so and so." It got to the point where I'm going, "You've got to be taking the piss." So there was Ali Campbell, Barry Gibb.
It wasn't a Barry Gibb.
There was a Barry. Yeah, there's a Barry Gibb. He pledged. He was on a walk-on part. I think he never made the final cut. But Barry Gibb, Findlay Tickle. There was a Mr. Tickle. Who am I missing? Jerry Berry.
Jerry Berry.
All worked for the same company. So I think there was others as well, but those are the four that I can remember. Ali Campbell, not from UB40, had pledged to play the part of the police officer, but got stuck in traffic or whatever and couldn't make the recording in time. So we were stuck for a policeman to say, "Excuse me, sir, is this your car?" Or words to that effect. And the only person that hadn't been in, so that we had the guy did the COVID, Ed. So we had Ed who did all the sort of COVID stuff with the hand gel and the masks and everything else. We needed an extra right in the very first scene. And he said something like he has to walk past and the main character says, "God, what is this place?" And he walks past and goes, "Scotland, pal." So he'd already been in it. So I was the only other person. Ali's stuck in traffic and I'm the only other person who could play the part of the policeman. So I ended up being in it as well.
I wonder how different it would have been if Ali Campbell had played that part.
With the one from UB40 or the other one?
Well, either or. Be interesting to see which one did it best.
Well, I could tell you, I know exactly the answer to that question. Ali Campbell.
Okay. And
I'll tell you why. Because if you squinted only a little bit, he looks very much like Jamie Dornan. Now, I mean, I know I'm, not too bad to look at, but compared with Ali Campbell / Jamie Dornan dressed up as a police officer, I can't compete with that.
I don't think many people can.
No. So no, I know the answer.
I'm glad he wasn't in it. Good looking. Make the rest of us look bad.
Yeah. So yes, I would imagine the camera would have loved his performance more than mine. Needs must, and I had to fill those shoes.
Yes, and you filled them adequately.
I think we had to cut from certain angles because the high vis that I had on had something. So I had the hat and the garb and everything else, but the high vis that I had on had something gardening supplies on the lapel. So we couldn't film from certain angles, if you'll excuse the expression. Yeah, the logo was in shot. So there you go.
So that's how we met. And
that's how we met. Yeah.
And that's why we're now doing this podcast. Answering a little casting call on Facebook has led to all this.
Wow.
Wowee.
Look at our empire now.
So for all you minions out there who might want to get in touch with us, this is our little bit of housekeeping at the end. So if you'd like to contact us, because we do want to hear from you and how you're getting on and anything, really. We'll take anything at this stage. So you can get in touch with us via Facebook if you search for Mindcake. We are on Instagram and Twitter if you search for @Mindcake Podcast. And we are on Gmail if you send us a message at sliceofmindcake@gmail.com.
Can I just mention one last thing? There was a comment that after episode 2,
yes,
where Joe got in touch. Joe is actually the friend of Andy Dunlop, who I know.
Okay.
And she said that episode 2, it was an emotional listen, but she enjoys the waffle. So hopefully she's enjoyed this episode because it has been nothing but waffle. But she also
it's a bonus episode.
It's a bonus episode, not an actual episode. But she did say, did I have to pay for the cake, the lemon drizzle cake? Ooh. And the answer is yes, because I don't think we're at a stage yet where we are going to be gifted cake. Maybe if we get to double figures, that might change. But however, Alfie & Co., I'm just giving another plug, have been in touch to say, would I meet them as they're thinking of starting a wellness breakfast club once a week? And would I go along for a meeting to have a chat with them about that? So Alfie and Co., if you're in the Drimmen area, may well be starting a wellness breakfast club in the near future. But stay tuned for that. So no free cake, but that's a very good outcome.
I mean, this is probably a better thing than free cake, to be fair, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, the free cake benefits only you,
Yeah.
whereas the breakfast club will benefit many people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could do a live podcast once from
the Breakfast Club.
From the Breakfast Club.
Well, there you
Record
go.
it live, or do it at night. You could still have your cake. We'll have cake and wines.
Cake and what?
Wines.
Wines?
Yes.
Yeah, that should be a good podcast. Two drunk people eating cake.
And talking all things mental health.
Yes. Right. Well, we've got 1 minute and 24 of this Zoom left, so let's leave it there. Thank you once again for listening, everybody. Paul has done his housekeeping, so it just leaves us to say adieu.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Let's start a podcast about our mental health for no good reason why. Let's call it Fine Cake.
I'm glad you're editing this because it'll pick the bones out of that load of shit. Yeah, I'm going to stop recording now. How do I stop? The stop button's gone now.